Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We wanted to do a quick after the match review and talk about the Kimber KHX custom 5-inch ported. And kind of what made me want to do this last minute porting on this gun is recently I've had, well, about a year ago I had this Masterpiece ported by Masterpiece themselves, V6 ports. And I really love the performance of this gun. Is phenomenal. But the ports didn't really improve the muzzle flip like I had originally thought it would. So I wanted to port a gun like this to see what the differences were. Now 1911s don't have the lowest bore axis because the beaver tail and because the way that the hammer works, your hand has to set lower on the gun. So they do tend to have more muzzle flip than some of the striker fire guns from the factory. So with that being said, I wanted to see what would tame that muzzle flip and kind of keep a gun flatter with this larger, I won't give you the exact spec because I can't remember off the top of my head. These are definitely a lot larger ports than these, but these are, I guess, small to medium size ports, and these are actually kind of large circular ports. And so I will say that the Kimber definitely kept this gun, the ports on the Kimber definitely kept this gun flatter than what the Masterpiece ports do. Now as far as softness goes, they're pretty much very similar in the way the gun feels in recoil in the back of the hand. So the softness are pretty similar. And the weights are fairly close on these two. I think there's only like a 2 ounce difference in weight. The Masterpiece being about 2 ounces heavier. But that's kind of the backstory of this. And now we want to talk about the match. So the ports, I had some questions being asked. Did the ports cause problems at the match? And the answer to that question is no. The ports cause no real issue. I did put a lighter spring in the gun, and I found myself maybe riding the slide too hard or something, and it did keep the slide from going fully into battery one time during the match. And it could have been a bad round or something with a little bit off specs that kept the round from going in as smoothly as well. So I can't really blame the spring, because the spring has plenty of pressure. Like even if I hold the gun straight up, it has no problem pushing back into battery, and it does it pretty strongly. So I don't think it's the spring, but it may have been the way I was riding the slide too hard or something. I'm not really sure, but that was really the only issue I think that could have been caused by the changes I made in the porting. But we did have some other issues. There was a couple times in the match now that personally just I made some mistakes, and that caused me to lose some time, but that's normal when you're shooting a match and you're under stress. Sometimes you'll make some few little small mistakes. But as far as gun related, the only real issue I ran into had nothing to do with the porting. It was all about the magazines kept wanting to stick in the gun. And at first I thought it was a magazine only issue, and I did discover that one or two of these mags was sticking. And these are Wilson Combat, so it's the best kind of mag you can buy in my opinion. For 9mm 1911s, the Wilson Combat is probably the best mag, and they have the most experience making mags. I think they were one of the first to develop a 9mm 1911, and so they make some of the best mags out there. But I did discover that one of the mags, or two of them, was a little bit larger in width or something than one of them. So it seemed like one of them was dropping free and the other two was not. And I thought it was just a mag issue, but as I did some research on the gun when I took it apart to clean it, and I will say too, just so you know, this gun, even when it's ported, is pretty easy to clean. It's got a stainless steel barrel, so I just took a good cleaning chemical, a gun cleaning chemical, and cleaned the barrel. And then I took a copper or brass brush, I should say, and I just wiped the barrel off real quick with the brass brush, and then wiped it down, and it was pretty easy to clean. It actually did not make the gun very dirty. The only thing that was dirty was right here at these port holes and around the barrel. Everything else was actually fairly clean for the most part, which is pretty impressive. So the ports did not make the job of cleaning the gun very difficult at all. And the gun was still running very smoothly after 150 rounds of shooting. It still ran very, very smoothly. So that's not an issue at all. But talking about the mag sticking again, and I'll try to include some footage, a short I made that's kind of funny in my opinion, about me trying to shake the mags out because they wouldn't come out. I had to strip some of them out, and I was trying to shake the gun to get them come out because I'm trying to grab my other mag with my other hand and shake the magazine in my gun out of the gun so I could grab the other mag, and I ended up having to strip it out, so it cost me a lot of time. And we'll go ahead and say, even with that, the way it cost me time, I wasn't too frustrated at it until I got home and I got 20th place, and I lost about somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 12 seconds trying to drop the mags in the gun, and I performed pretty well with the gun. So let's say if I lost anywhere from 8 to 12, 13, 14 seconds trying to strip these mags out or get these mags out of the gun because they were sticking during the match, it cost me that much time. I got 20th place, and I'll put it up here on the screen real quick to show you. But from 20th place to 9th place, there was only a 12-second difference. So my best match result was 12th place. And I'm not the greatest, but I think I'm a little bit better than most average shooters in the matches, but just slightly better. But my best results was 12th place. And if these mags weren't sticking yesterday when I shot the match, if the mags weren't sticking, I had a possibility of getting 11th, 10th, or 9th place, which would have beat my best scoring at IDPA. So once I saw that, I got kind of frustrated. I wasn't really frustrated about the issue until I seen that, and I was like, man, if I just wouldn't have had a mag issue with the mags dropping, I would have had my best IDPA score yet. So that was a little disheartening when I saw that, but I still had a good time. And hey, everybody has gun problems and everybody has bad days, but I had a good day shooting, and I just had a problem with the magazines dropping. And I did make some mistakes. That's what's kind of funny but overall my performance was really good, even with maybe a couple little hiccups here and there. I had a couple places where you have a little brain fog and you kind of like, what do I do next? And you kind of quickly think through it and move on. So I had a couple of those quick moments, but they didn't take much time, and I shot really good. My accuracy was really good. The gun was shooting great. I mean, with a less than 3-pound trigger, this thing is shooting phenomenal. I mean, right when you put the dot on the target, it's going to hit right where you pull the trigger every time, whereas some guns, it seems like you pull the trigger and the shot don't go exactly where you think it should have went. This gun was putting them right where I was putting them. Even when I was missing the A zone, I was calling it in my head because I could see myself twitching or moving or whatever, trying to go too fast. I knew that I'd missed when I missed. And every time I was on the A zone and pulled the trigger, it was on the A zone. So it was just shooting phenomenally as far as that goes. Probably, I could say almost more confidently that this was shooting wherever I was putting that dot, it was shooting right where I was pulling the trigger, almost more proficiently than any other gun I've ever had at the matches. It just seemed like every time I pulled the trigger and my red dot was on a spot, it's where it hit. And that's all you could ask for any gun, right? I mean, that's what you want from any gun. So let's get back to the mag release issue. So when I got home and started researching it, and I think I may have figured this out in the past and I didn't take the time to fix it, which I'm kind of mad at myself, but I added this magazine release, which is a mil-spec kind of general mag release that somebody actually cuts a hole in and threads it so that you can put this button on it. So this came as a package with the mag release and the button. So this is not the factory mag release, because the factory mag release had no place to thread it for a button. I ordered this one after, and I noticed for some reason the tolerances on this mag release, like there's hardly any room for the mag release to let this slide through. So basically when you open it up enough to let the mag drop off the catch, so when you opened up, push the button far enough to release the catch, this side of the mag release was putting pressure on the magazine. So if you didn't press the magazine exactly perfect, it was either not releasing or it was putting pressure, pushing the magazine into the side of the mag well, basically the mag wall, I guess I should say. So inside here, it would be pushing on one side into this wall. So either way, if you didn't have that button pressed a perfect place, which is impossible when you're under stress, if you didn't have this pressed right to the certain place, it was catching. It was pushing the mag and catching. Whereas now, so what I did basically, I'll just go into this. What I did is I actually took a Dremel and cleaned up this side of the mag release to open it up more. So when you press this, you got more tolerance room for the mag to release. And this doesn't, when you press all the way on this, it doesn't push on the magazine nearly as bad as it was doing yesterday. So we got the magazine fixed. I'll show you, and here's one way you can test this if you want to know yourself. We'll show you a way you can test this real quick. But I hold the gun not completely sideways, but where gravity is going to help just a tad, and press the button, and the mag should fall out. And this is all 3 mags. I'm going to show you all 3 mags. Okay, so that one grabbed a little bit, but that's just because I had it too vertical. Let's try this again. All right. So that one fell out. I hit my hand. All right. Yeah, so all these magazines are falling free. It's kind of hard to do this on camera. I was holding it a little bit too sideways a while ago. But yeah, when you're letting gravity should knock these out every time. And that's what they're doing. No problem sticking. That's the way you want it to be. Sorry, when I'm looking at the camera, it's kind of hard to load mags and drop them like that. But yeah, the mags, as you can see, as long as you're holding it at least halfway sideways, the mags are dropping free, no problem. So if I would have shook the gun or hold the gun straight up and hit the mag button, it's going to drop every time. I don't have to worry about that. And it's actually shooting them out pretty well. These magazines are a little bit old, so the spring doesn't push them out as hard as it probably would have new. But yeah, we fixed the issue. We've got no stickiness to the mag when it comes out of the gun. And like I said, the only hiccup I'm going to have now is if I'm holding it completely sideways. You know, it's not going to come all the way out. But even then, even though that didn't come all the way out, it slips out freely. There's no resistance. So yeah, the mag release issue has been fixed. I may shoot this gun again because I did so great. I shot the first stage, which is the warm-up stage, 4 shots to the body and 2 to the head. That's 6 shots in 2 different target zones from the draw and right at 4 seconds. Not under 4 seconds, but right at 4 seconds. I shot 4 to the body and 2 to the head and got 6th place on the warm-up. So that shows you what the potential of the gun is. The other stages, there's so many human factors. How fast can you run from one place to the other? How fast do you transition? How good are you? How used to are you? Let's put it another way. How good and proficient you are with that particular weapon system. And I haven't shot this gun in a while, so it took a little bit of getting used to. So the stages show some of that, but the gun did great, and I would have done pretty great if not had my best score if the mags would have dropped freely. We did fix the issue. I'm very happy with this gun. It's actually one of my favorite guns in my collection now. I went to the match, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I went to the match kind of thinking, I kind of don't really want to shoot the Kimber today. It just wasn't thrilling me because I haven't practiced with single stack magazines in a while. So I was like nervous about that. I haven't shot this gun in a while. I've always liked its accuracy. I've always been able to shoot it as good as anything I've got. But I just wasn't thrilled about it because it doesn't have the greatest mag well. You can see it does have like a built-in mag well on the grips, and it does change magazines fairly well. But it's not as easy as, say, the Masterpiece is, where it's got the all-around mag well on it, and the double stack magazines are just easier to change. So I was a little nervous about shooting it yesterday, but I had a really good time with it. I probably will shoot it soon because I got the release issue fixed, and I shot it so well, and the gun handled so well. And like we said, when you're comparing it to the Masterpiece, to the Kimber, this one shoots flatter and just as soft as the Masterpiece. Is the Masterpiece overall a slightly more performance-based gun? Yes, it is definitely a little bit faster, a little bit nicer, a little bit smoother. However, the Kimber almost meets it in every way, and as far as shooting flat, it was shooting flatter than the Masterpiece ever was. So pretty impressive. And if you have any questions, concerned, I know people don't really like Kimber, and I just probably won't even get a lot of views. That's okay, but I still wanted to make it. I was still pretty happy about it. I'll show you the blooper, I guess you'd say, reel after this on the short that I made. The short, YouTube doesn't really do a lot of good supporting for gun channels on the short, so this will be a way that I can interject the funny short that I made into a bigger video. You can watch it after the video. Like I said, I'll also show you the score and how that if I wouldn't have had a magazine drop issue or sticking issue, that I would have probably got 9th place yesterday and been my best time. I'll also show that earlier in the video, and I'll probably show some footage, the whole footage of the match as well, because I like to do that in these videos because people don't always watch the match footages. So God bless. Have a great day. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't. Let me know if you need anything, guys. Have a good day.